All right. Hey, team. It's
Hey
the
James, hey everyone.
22nd of November, 2023. Mix. What are we going to talk about?
We want to talk about a lot of stuff, and sure, while talking, we want to break a lot of stuff, and we want to suffer together and enjoying this suffering and learning a lot together as well, like what we did last Wednesday, and it was nice. It was kind of good experience that we reached to some limitation of the so-called great or the perfect choice library for front end, and we are going to do it kind of same thing for the server side. So last week on Wednesday, if you guys haven't seen that video, I recommend to see. And if you have any question in regards to that, sure, feel free to come in Discord, email up Discord, and sure we can hang around and asking all these sort of question. But regards to that video, if you have some question, feel free to tag me or James or anyone. And the other thing would be, I hope once we finish this code, which we wrote last week, alongside the code we are going to do today, and we are going to publish that on GitLab repository or repository bank, as some people call that. And then you guys again can go through it and see if it would be helpful for you. But without further ado, let me start sharing my screen and starting from scratch, actually. So let me give you a very kind of brief kind of history what we've done. But last week, when actually Thursday, we tried to build a transaction with Lucid, and we kind of did, but we failed to craft correct datum or datum format in order to pass a smart contract validation regards to this specific datum. And to be honest, I tried different things, but I couldn't solve this issue if I want to stay in JavaScript world. But if we want to move to the TypeScript world, yeah, I think that is possible because before crafting this very manual thing, we can create a data scheme or data type scheme and just pass it to this serialization and stuff, and we are, I think, good to go. Although I haven't done it, I don't know, maybe if we have time, we can do it or another session. But same thing actually would actually kind of happen for today as well. And we are going to see that we are in very kind of earlier stage of all this thing, and there are some limitations. But all these things, we assume that we have two Lucid. One Lucid works at backend, server side, and one Lucid works in front end, aka client side. And we are going to do that exactly same. Although I don't know if we are going to do the same transaction, but maybe we can, or we can do other transaction. There is no problem. But the thing is, if you guys remember, we define two API or two Lucid, and we call them front-end Lucid and back-end Lucid. So everything we wrote about this back-end Lucid, today we are going to write with a library written in Golang called Apollo. And I've created a folder here called Apollo Server alongside with the code you could just write, you guys right now see, called Lucid Client. So it would be kind of convenient for differentiating these two stuff. And sure, you can just substitute with Lucid with any front-end library like Mesh, Typhoon, whatever. And of course, we can substitute Apollo with anything like, again, Lucid or Atlas, which is a Haskell library for transaction building built by GeniusCL, and it is the PAB IOG supposed to deliver, but they didn't for all sorts of reasons. So yeah, without further ado, let's start with this Apollo server. And well, in any Golang project, normally after creating folder files, all this setup, the first command would be go mod init, and then the name of the project, or even the repo you want to build under that name. And in our case would be Apollo-server. And then we are going to check this thing and continue everything with VS Code. So it would be like more visual appealing. So sorry. So yeah, it doesn't do that much, that command, but it is very essential. So now let's create a file called main.go, and it would be our first file to do all this transaction building. And the package, of course, would be package, no, not server, but main. And here we are going to import the stuff, sure, but let's first find the Apollo repository, because we want to get it. So it would be like Apollo, Cardano, GitHub. Just searching some keywords would be enough to find this guy. Let's hope that I'm sorry if my network kind of but so yeah, so we can just copy the link from the top. We don't need the HTTPS behind it. And let's add this into our project. And the command for that, let me close. Okay, let's would be go get github.com. This Eduardo, and it is his family name, and Apollo. So actually the creator of this library, as I call him, one-man army, he published it on his personal repository. And we just see that, yeah, it just added a bunch of stuff, bunch of different packages. And we can see that, yeah, we have this. But there is a issue. Well, today, I think we are going to mint something. By today, there are some issues with this release. So we don't want to use this release for today. Therefore, we want to use different, like one commit before that. So let's do that very quickly. Let's go to the commits. And this is the last one, which is the that version we saw, like 1.0.5. And we just need this guy. So we can just copy the commit hash. And again, we can go asking this, but at the end of that, you can say @ and then add in this commit. And then by doing that, go with replace this stuff with this guy. And let's hope that I think still it's using this guy, but let's see that do we get a problem or not. But you know what? Let me remove this. Well, as simple as that. It's like a JavaScript. If you want to remove package, you can just easily remove it like that. And then let's again get this so we don't. But just got sent. Well, let's face the problem and then figure it out. What should we do? So, well, we have this main function, which is normally the things in Golang, and well, everyone should do it. And then, well, we can craft a transaction inside the main, or we can create a function to do that outside the main. And by the way, sorry, I forgot. Just you know, when you are in different languages, suddenly you forget that you should do something. Yeah, this is the function. So let's create a function for creating our transaction. But let me ask James that what this function supposed to, like what this transaction is all about. Should we, James, build what we were building with Lucid in that code or no? Do we want to try
Could we
something?
actually, maybe we'll get that far, but could we actually take like 2 steps back before we get there?
Sure, sure.
I would love to see the basic design pattern for the simplest just sending Lovelace transaction.
Okay, no problem.
And
So
then maybe can we go from there to an app wallet signature pattern?
yeah, okay, no problem. No problem at all. So let's start with very simple transaction. We will we want to send bunch of ADA, not even to a smart contract, but to another wallet, even to ourselves. Just we want to do that and submit that with Lucid. And let's kind of make this not complex, but we want to do with a wallet that we supposedly do not have access to their private key, so that we cannot sign that transaction in our backend. Okay, so we will craft a transaction, send it to front end, and by help of Lucid, we will pop up a signing a window, and the user will sign and approve this transaction of sending a bunch of Lovelace to himself or to anyone. Actually, here we can get some address if you guys are in need of some Lovelace. And I have some Lovelace to spare, like around like 200,000 testnet Lovelace. If you guys need something, I have some. I've just accumulated a lot.
Stop
So
bragging.
so yeah, okay. So what would be the name of the function? This is the one of the hardest question of the whole computer science, as you guys know. So let's just put send love send Lovelace, no, send Lovelace to like whom, to my love. Okay, so let's see who would be my lover today. and then we want to call this function in our main. So send and that. So oh no error. By the way, I mean, since we don't need this guy that much, and it would be annoying to be under this, so let's put this guy at top. Well, in Golang, in some cases does matter because we have higher order function stuff. Same in Haskell, but in our case, well, it doesn't matter that much. So yeah, let's start with the very, very basic. Same with Lucy, if you guys remember. The first step we did was kind of creating something so-called a chain index or explorer or backend. So like starting with this. Although we have a really cool thing with Apollo that we can start without this like block frost, maestro, anything like all this chain index without that, and we can start something called uh, empty backend. We will try both of them, and you guys see. I mean, in the sending Lovelace, we don't see the differences, but in a transaction, we will see it. I mean, let me tell you, if we use this backend, if we create this chain index and create crafting the transaction based on that, there are some execution unit calculation, and it will be added to your transaction. But if you don't do that, if you go with just empty backend, like not using block frost or anything at all, Well, you don't get that option. So you have to specify manually how much of this contract will cost. So yeah, but this is kind of same. Let's go with the familiar stuff. So yeah, this is our block frost. I'm going to use same thing. Let's call it, well, as we see even in their example, in Apollo example, although their example is kind of outdated, we can see that the first thing they've done this here is BFC, block fraud, chain context, and all these things. So we can just copy it, and I don't need to, but I'm going to copy it until here because you guys are going to see, well, why I'm not copying everything here. So yeah, this guy would be, and this is that guy, and let me just Control S, so it will be automatically imported. And in order to have this, you need to install bunch of Golang VS Code extensions. So it would help you. Let me add this to our workspace so we won't get that much of error. But now we can see that this guy needs three parameter or three argument: base URL, network, and project ID. Well, we have that in our Lucid code in next config JS. And if you don't have this guy, and if you are not using next in your project, probably you should add this in your Webpack configuration. But yeah, this is the base URL. We can just copy it. Although I think there are, if I remember correctly, there are this base URL we can use. Like we don't need to put that. But never mind. Like you know, in what I was thinking, as you can see, you see that there is different. Like the API key here is the first parameter, but the base URL is the last one, which, as you saw, the code was updated and now it's completely reversed. Like base URL right now is first one, and the project ID, or AKA your API key, is the last one. But we can use this guy as well, I think, but let's go with very safe option. So I'm going to just copy this guy, pass it as our first parameter. The network ID would be an integer, and I think it is 0. Yeah. With block frost, I should repeat that all the network except mainnet is 0. So per preview, per prod, whatever, it's 0, and the mainnet is 1. As simple as that. So let's do this. And since Golang is very concerned about type, it is really a strongly type language. We'll put it, although it is integer, but let's put it in this int, because it needs int. Because we have all sorts of ints, int 16, 64, 32, complex integer, all sorts of stuff. Similar with any other strongly typed language. And then here would be our API key, or project ID, as they call them, and copying here. So now our kind of like this part in our code, like with Lucid or Mesh, is like this is the guy. Like this was what we just did with Apollo. But now we need to do it this part as well. So then, as you guys remember, we will call these backend Lucid, all these function, all these stuff, and they work. So in Apollo, this thing, we can see it in the document, like how they have done it. And we are going to do the same. It is CC, what they call it CC. Because the name doesn't that much matter. And they went with Apollo.new empty backend. And as I said, new empty backend has this advantage that you don't need this guy to start your transaction building. Whereas in, for example, Lucid or Mesh, I don't know, I don't have experience with Typhoon, but I think in Typhoon as well, you have to provide it. Like you cannot build that. And there are some advantage and disadvantage. For example, if you do this with Lucy, the wallet is going to craft a transaction must have at least 5 ADA as a collateral because it will bring that UTXO into the transaction, you see. And unfortunately, there is not that much you can do about that. You cannot set that collateral in Lucid. I don't know with Mesh. There are, I mean, the old Mesh, we have some exciting new changes with Mesh. Probably we might have with that because they employ all the stuff or logic or principle of Cardano CLI into their code. So probably we have more flexibility. But right now it is like that. And that's a kind of bummer. And for some multi-sig transaction, it might cause some actually concurrency issue because in order to not use your UTXO, because you don't want to spend your admin UTXO in app wallet, you have to disable it coin selection. And you have to rely on the coin selection of the wallet or the coin selection that you are going to provide. You are going to do it and provide that UTXO or balance that input output. So yeah, here inside incomplete, if you do the coin selection false, your UTXO from that wallet will not be spent. But the good news with Apollo is we don't have this case, especially if you use new empty backend. But we want to go with the backend. Actually, we want to use this guy. I mean, let's go for the transaction building for the Lovelace, this guy, and then for the smart contract with the BFC. I mean, adding that. But I'm going to show you how it would look like. So the next part would be the CC. We follow that, and we call it Apollo dot. See, we have new and if a new empty backend. Oh, we have new block frost backend as well, which we will pass BFC, but I'm using the new dot this guy. So let's go with new empty backend. I think I missed something. Let me just, I think, yeah, I think it was correct. Yeah. And sorry, new empty backend. And then let's continue with our wallets. Like we want someone to craft this transaction, right? So who should be, well, let's start with that. And but I should say that here we can actually don't use CC. Yeah, because we can use the Apollo here, like we don't need that. So let's actually do this. So let's call this Apollo like Apollo backend, like BE. And this guy, this Apollo BE would be this Lucid guy we just like this backend Lucid. And we are going to use this guy throughout our code. So okay, I'm just trying to, although maybe you guys doesn't know about Golang, but I'm trying to make it more familiar with all this kind of similar transaction building, because all these library, of course, they are working with different languages, different mindset of languages. But at the core, they are following the standards, and the standards are written in a CDDL, in Cardano repository, which you guys can find it in Cardano Ledger. And because of that, they are kind of following the same pattern. So this is the pattern. Of course, we are very familiar. And with Apollo, we are doing exactly the same. So let's go with the first step. I mean, here, as we can see, when in the with the documentation or this example, we need to set up a wallet. So we can set up the wallet from a seed phrase, sure, but let's go with something that we talk about. We want to craft a transaction that we don't have any access to its private key or anything to sign that. So like that's the idea. So let's again use this guy. I mean, in Golang, we can use one value, and it will kind of override that value. And the good thing is with Golang, you have like a C, which is my favorite language. You have really good access of the memory. Like you can, there is pointer, reference, all these things, and it is really efficient. Actually, they call Golang the son of C. So yeah, so let's go with again using this Apollo BE, and then let's go again calling or mentioning, some people call it this value B, and then we go with dots, and we need set wallet, set where is set wallet? I don't see it. What I'm missing here? Well, okay, this backend. Okay, probably, yeah, I think I missed this guy because of this backend guy. So let me, sorry, copy this here. And then this, I mean, should be here. Yeah. And this should be the CC, and this should be the Apollo B. So dots, and now, yeah, now we see all sort of function regards to this guy. So set wallet, and we can see we have several options. Set wallet as change address, we're going to use it, of course, but we have set wallet from bec32, and we have set wallet from mnemonic or okay seed phrases, but we are going to use this bec32, and we are imagining that we get the user address, which is the normal address. I mean, a normal address, I mean, like something like this. It would be a receive. So this is the bec32 address. And I'm going to actually use exactly this guy here to start the transaction. But we can go with some constant, but let's go with, okay, no problem. Let's go with, well, okay, I don't like this constant user address, well, user bec32 address, sorry, const. And then, of course, it would be a string. Let's paste our address here. Because if I wanted to put this directly, the code would be very lengthy, and it would be maybe hard to see or read what's happening. So I'm going to just pass this guy here. And of course, we want to put this as well, set change address. And well, no, I think that wallet as change address. So yeah, so we just passed a wallet or address of a wallet, and we are saying that the changes of this transaction should go back to the same user as well. Although you can change it, as you saw that there are functions, which is really good. Like in some, I think in some other library, I'm not sure, I don't remember about Lucid. I think, but in Lucid, I think still you cannot change it, but probably you can. If I remember, there was something here that you have to specify. Just I'm remembering now. In that complete, there was some change address. Yeah, change, then we can give. So change would be that, for example, the user address. Do we have user address here? User ADDR. So yeah, here you have to like specify if you are crafting that transaction with Lucid with your wallet, with your admin app wallet. Otherwise, the changes will end up in your wallet, in your app wallet, which is not good. You need to send back to the user himself. So yeah, that is the guy. I just remember now. So same thing for Apollo. Okay, so now we need to kind of craft this bec32 address we got into Apollo address type. And the reason is we will get kind of better performance because once we create this address type, which we are going to see, it would be again a position in memory, and all this function will going to use that position. So it's not like copying everything or like creating different address in same memory and polluting your memory. But no, it's like one time you make it, put it in a position in your computer memory, server memory, and you use it throughout, which is again another amazing thing. Whereas, for example, in Lucy or any JavaScript, once you use something, basically it create a copy of the same thing, put it in memory, and it will pollute, and that's why it's slow. So let's call it user address, and we will use something like this a star sign, and this is the symbol for pointer in Golang, and we are going to use this Apollo BE. Same thing with Lucy. If you guys remember, we were always backend Lucy, frontend Lucy, and then dot calling an object or function or whatever. Kind of same thing with Apollo as well. So once you define or build your Apollo BE, although you can put any name, you are going to just kind of use that throughout your transaction build. And then we say get wallet, which is a function, will get this wallet, and why suddenly it add the reference? We don't want that. And then we want to set get address. And you see that we have all sorts of stuff, but we want the address. And now we have the address type of that. And we can see that this is address.address. It is the address type of the same bec32 we saw. And then we don't need to go with the payment pub key hash, staking pub key hash. Once you've done that for this transaction building, basically we have, because we are going to see that we have very amazing function with Apollo that like we have a lot of option to just add the pub key hash of an address to witness. I mean, not to transaction witness section of the transaction, but like required signers. So we have the user, and yeah. So now I think we should get the user UTXOs, I think. So let's go there. Look, the user UTXOs, because we want to get all the user UTXO provided to Apollo. And Apollo have coin selection, although Eduardo said that he's going to improve it drastically. So it would actually, right now it's fast, but it is going to make it much better. So we will provide all the UTXO of that person or that wallet, that user to this transaction building, but that transaction building will go through that UTXO and pick up the one that they need for transaction building and balancing the input output and just ignore the rest of it. But if you want to kind of make it faster, well, you can just provide those UTXO that is needed. So you don't need to provide all. Like imagine that wallet have, I don't know, hundreds of UTXO, and now that algorithm has to go through hundreds of different arrays with UTXO asset in them and all sort of stuff. Of course, it will make your transaction building and server response time. I mean, if we just assume in the best scenario, response time is slower. But in some cases, actually, it will crash the server. You have to rerun or restart the server. But in our case, we have very small UTXO. We can go and say, hey, bring all the UTXO. So again, here, as you guys again remember with these Lucid guys, in order to get the user UTXO, like where was this guy? We just have this backend Lucid, but since our backend is empty, like we didn't use it, also it is empty, we need to use the Block Frost. So it will query that endpoint in order to get the user UTXO. So PFC, and there should be something on UTXO, yeah, UTXOs, and then we will
Hey,
provide.
Mix.
Yeah, James.
One quick question there. Is Block for us the only option, or do we have like a
Well,
Koios
let me show
plugin?
you. Let me show you the current state of Apollo. So if you come to the Apollo repo, then you go to the if you go to the TX building, there's a folder called backend backends or backend chain. If it's if yeah backend, and in the backend we have all these available backends. As you can see, we have Block Frost, Maestro, and Agmios. But for example, in our case of Maestro, let's see like what is the current state. As you can see, it is the current state is to do. And even if you want to use Maestro, you have to call new Block Frost chain context. So like there are different options, but it's still under construction. Let's go for
That's
Agmios.
awesome.
Yeah, and actually it opened a room for contribution. Like you guys can come and see that Agmios, well, it's more ready. See, it's better. We have the new Agmios chain index. So for Agmios, kind of pretty good. But for Maestro, no. But Kaios, the other one, no. And I should remind you guys, all these cause was done by one person. So, and he just got funded, I think, I don't know, Fund 5 or something. Not that's got funded. I mean, he got funded on Fund 5, 6, something around that, and he built this one. So yeah, if you guys want to contribute, like I would like to contribute. I'm going through this library and want to contribute. For example, Maestro chain context is, I think, the greatest start for me to just add all this UT function. And interestingly, there are some endpoints, like for example, I mean, we had this, there are different endpoint of Block Frost that he didn't add to the Block Frost. For example, just querying one asset and finding that a specific UTXO but he didn't implement it, which would comes handy if you are looking for a UTXO and you don't want to use your computation in order to query all the UTXO of a small contract or wallet and going through all that UTXO and finding that a specific asset in that specific UTXO. Well, BlockForce provide you, not just BlockForce, of course, Maestro. I mean, Maestro can, there are some queries in Maestro that provides more details and better details. If you guys remember, I said that, for example, regards to the reference UTXO, BlockForce just gives you the script, but Maestro not just gives you a script hash and a script address. So just regards to a script, you can get more info. So for example, here we had to get that contract address. So it was kind of extra, you see, like extra computation. Sorry, Richard? Okay, so yeah, like for example, Maestro make your life easier. I didn't use Acmeos, but I think they are good in their way as well, of Kaios. So yeah, there are many improvements. But right now, as we just saw, BlockForce and Acmeos are kind of ready. I don't know about this fixed chain context, to be honest. Like, what is it exactly? I think it provides some fundamental stuff to the. Yeah, okay. Fixed chain means everything like this. This is the protocol parameter. It is like hard coded. But if you use any chain indexer, sure, you can get all these things from that, and the function will calculate that, so you're kind of updated. But if you don't want to use that, sure, you can use this. And the other thing would be using your own indexer. Which actually I'm going to show you what would be look like. And we have a very lovely guest today. He's the writer. Maybe he can talk about a couple of sentences about these libraries I'm going to show you. But anyway, so yeah, user UTXO, and we are going to pass this user address to it. So as you can see, it needs this guy user address. Sorry. And that pic should be, there is H, because I missed the H. So I think we are ready to craft our transaction. And, but I want someone address as well. I don't want to send that to myself. If someone is willing to give his address to me, by the way, I see a lot of stuff with chat. So let me go through it. Okay, so does anyone wants a bunch of free testnet data? I mean, basically it's free, but you know, you have to wait kind of one day to get 10,000 data. So if you want, just give, going once event sometimes. But I tested that after 2 or 3 days, you can request for another 10,000. Okay, so we got James' address, and I'm going to create same thing we just crafted with the user here, and we call it const receiver. Okay, receiver pick 32 address string, and receiver is wrong. So receiver, and the address should be here. I think Q7. Yeah, I think it is right. So this is our receiver. We can create some sort of, again, address type out of it. But let's actually try. I mean, there are functions to use a big32 address or address type. But let's start with transaction builder. Apollo. Again, if you guys remember, I should maybe remind you. Same thing again with Lucy, as I said. Once you want to build a transaction building, you go with TX, await backend, you know, all these things. Same thing with Apollo. So we go with Apollo, but since we want to use a function complete, again, same with Lucy, there is this complete, and this complete return two value. One is the actual value, another is error, and this is kind of a standard in Golang to store all this error in ERR. So yeah, we can do this, sorry, and then Apollo, same again, Apollo BE and dot, let me dot add a loaded UTXO. We can go with add input, sure. It's kind of a little more complex, but with add loaded UTXO, we just say that, hey, this is the bunch of UTXO you should get and do your stuff with it. And handling all this coin selection, all this stuff to the Apollo. But if you don't want to do that, if you just actually found your specific UTXO, you can use add input. But by the way, I'm seeing another person, Jonas, and an address. Sure, no problem.
Yeah,
Jonas.
use that one instead.
No,
I threw
you
mine in
will.
as backup.
No, why not? I have enough ADA to spare to everyone. No problem.
Wow, for
So,
everybody?
yeah,
Hey,
everyone.
Mix, one more question while you're
Sure.
here. The autocomplete is super helpful here. And
Yeah.
you're only using the Go native VS Code plugin at this point, right?
Uh, well, I have several, to be honest. Let me, if I just go very quickly into them. And not so I have Go and I have Go assembly, which you don't need because I use assembly like in reverse engineering. Maybe you guys don't know. I'm a regular just malware analyst, so in malware I read a lot of assembly and stuff and reverse engineering. So Go assembly helps actually to write assembly code in Go, which there are malwares out there that's written in Go, but inside that there are some assembly. You just saw this and maybe you guys love about this stuff, and it is really amazing malware. Like anyway, like it's like you see a crime happening, and you enjoy how this crime crafted. Like you just say kudos to these criminal minds. Anyway, so this Go assembly actually can help you do this crazy stuff. And yeah, I have Go auto test, Go docs, Go extension pack, of course. Go nightly, Go outliner, Go text test explorer, Go to method, Go web, and I think that's all. So I don't know, you guys, if you want, you can just a screenshot or write it down. And just I'm going to leave it here until I finish with our second receiver. So let me with one. I mean, it is easy with one, but yeah, okay, let's go with something. So I'm going to
Yeah,
copy.
but and just to Jonah's question, the
Sure.
main Go extension from the Go team gives you the ability to have all that function autocomplete and all that, right? There's all this other helpful stuff, but the autocomplete is awesome just
Yeah.
out of the box.
Yeah, and it doesn't need AI or whatever, but if you have AI like Tab 9, which I have it, I should assign it, it will become more like it will inject kind of some storage into that extension, but sometimes too much. So that these packages, especially this Go extension package, which is, as you guys see, it is kind of, I don't know it is a kind of official or not, to be honest. I'm not seeing the number of, but there are 6 packages and why I'm not seeing the details. But anyway, these autocomplete help you a lot. And to me, these, like, I put this dot and, like, for example, you see it here, and dot something. This is my documentation. Like, like, what would be the documentation in my opinion? These are. I just put add this guy. Like, what the hell are you? And you see, thanks to the author of this library, the comment above the function also provided in that. So here, actually, he, like, for example, in one of the files I was reading earlier today, or Apollo Builder, it's simple. It is not like following Swagger kind of stuff, uh, documents or comments about function, but even this will be provided to you once you use a function, and it is helpful. And if you want again to contribute and you don't know anything about Golang or it's too complicated, yeah, you can just feel free to just add stuff to this, and it would be amazing for a lot of developers. So to be honest, I don't know exactly which one is going to. I forgot, to be honest. I've installed all this stuff like years ago. I forgot which of these guys do this. Maybe this is the Godoc does this for me. That if I just hover around this, I can see the comments about that function and say that there are some issues, all this. But yeah, you can just use some of these extension and testing out. But anyway, let me just add or Jonah's address again. Okay. So now we have two receiver and one sender, no problem, which is, well, let me go with this user as sender, okay? And here the address, user address would be sender. And user UTXO would be sender UTXO. Sender. So for, for convenient naming, we're proud that we are. And since you see that this three dots means it should be a list, like it should not be just something. But as you see, this again, this list. Actually, I forgot this three dots was. Chris, do you remember? Of course, you remember. What was this three dots meant once we added in the type, like three dots? I know, like I should add three dots here, but I just forgot about.
It's any number of them, so
anyway.
it can be more than one UTXO.
I see. I see. So yeah, this but we still get the error, and the reason is say that Apollo like add loaded UTXO return one. You see that error at top assignment mismatch two variable, but Apollo that added add loaded UTXOs returns one value. But if we just add this guy, complete guy, well, you see no error. And I should add this very, you will see it throughout everywhere in Golang. So we say that if ER is true, like if ER happen, like error happen. Sorry, if just like this was if ER is equal, I mean not equal with nil. So if error is not empty, then well, there are all sorts of error handling, but for us, we say that just print the error. So fmt print ln, and then we pass the error. And here I should have had this guy. So yeah. So now we no complaint, everything looks fine. But let's make it more like something looks more clear, like some adding tabs. Let me close this for now. Okay, so we just passed the UTXO we want to use, and let's I think add, or I mean the address we want to pay. So we have a pay to address. You see that we have pay to address, which accept the address type, and we have pay to address bec32, which accept this guy, this string. You can use either of them, so you're not like you are not bound to one. Whereas in, like for example, Lucy, you have to go with one like one pay to address. But here we have all sorts of, so we can use, because we just converted to, like we have the bec32 of the users. Let's go with pay to address bec32. And as we see that at top, it accepts address string, Lovelace as int, and units if there is. Units means the assets that we want to send. And as Chris mentioned about these 3 dots, here 3 dots upload that unit means any number of units. So you can just add all sorts of units here. I don't have asset in that bullet, so we will try it with other bullets. So okay, let's pass this receiver here. Then the Lovelace would be okay, like how much? Let's go for any famous number figures. I don't know. Let's go for 2000. And sure, again, we should go with int. And by 2000, I mean 2000 ADA. So, I mean, testnet. So we should write this as a Lovelace. We saw that in that, see that Lovelace. So it is not ADA. So 2000 means again, adding 3 extra 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But we don't have any extra, so we can just add. And we can, well, let's, you know what? Let's go with Jonah address with different, like the pay to address. So we want to convert this address bec32 to address types, something like we did here. So we see different implementation of this, like same thing. So we say like receiver address, not this guy, 2, but no bec32. Let me add. And we're going to use I think it would be address, address dot decode address, and then we will just pass this guy here. What's the error? You said that, okay, I'm sending you 2. The function says I'm sending or returning 2 values, but you just provide me 1. And we can see that address.decode address accept 1 value, which is a string, but returns 2 value, address type, and error. So we have to again pass the error here. And now we get a problem here, because once you define the error at top, you don't need to redefine it again. So just need this. And maybe you guys, I don't know if you are old-fashioned, this is happened like ages ago. This syntax for defining a new value. If you guys, I don't know, have you tested language Pascal? I don't know, it's very old-fashioned language. This is coming from Pascal language for defining new values. So yeah, but by the way, this error is just saying, hey, you declare and not use. The good thing about Golang is you cannot declare a value or define a value and not use it. It is not possible. I mean, there are something that you actually can tell to the compiler that, hey, I defined that, but don't use it for now. And it means that it will not be end up in your memory, but something like in Lucid or JavaScript, which you see here. Like here, I didn't use it, and you see that color is kind of different than the other, like darker blue or something. It is not possible with Go. And actually, it is really good language for even financial building, which in Polkadot, for example, or Cosmos, they are using Golang. I mean, they're using a kind of WebAssembly stuff, but Golang is the main language. Anyway, so yeah, we have the receiver address 2 in address type. And let's use another other function, pay to address, and receive address as our input. As we said, again, see it accept address type, which we just create that or build that, and then Loveless. And let's send 2000 to our new receiver as well, and of course at the end dots. And I think our transaction is just, that's it. Let me think. Do we need more? Do you guys think we should add more? Like there is
That looks good.
someone, I think looks good, right? And you
Yeah.
might say, oh, you didn't ask for the permission of the user. Sure, we can. Like we can say add require signer. You can see we have require signer from address vector32. And you know, one very nice thing which I didn't find it in Lucy. If I do this, like we have both of them. Let's say because we have the address like sender vector32 and a sender address type. But let's go with address. And this function say that I need 3 parameters. One parameter would be the address, like who's going to sign it. The second and third parameter are interesting. Let me pass this first, and let me add this dot so we don't get that much. So in Apollo, you can craft a transaction and ask for the user staking part to be signed while signing the transaction as well. So not only the payment part, but the staking part as well. So you can be sure that this address or Franken address attack, as they call it, or all sorts of forging a staking part of address attack will not happen. So you can say, yeah, true and true. So both part of an address will be added as a required signer for this transaction. And interestingly, you can sign a transaction with just a staking part. Because I don't care the payment part. For, I don't know, maybe you have some design in your gap that you care about the reward part of the address, not the payment part, because you are not spending something from that payment part. Here's your transaction billing. So you can actually give a transaction to the user in order for them to spend a UTXO from the reward address. By reward address, I mean this guy. So if you need to withdraw from this address, you should provide your private key for this part, which basically same with the payment part, but the transaction building, even like in Scala is kind of different. But here with Apollo, we can just, by saying true, false, we can just design that what the transaction building and that transaction which we are going to send to the front should look like. But let's go for the both parts, and I'm going to show you like what would be look like. So I think we are good to go, and we just need to convert this transaction to a CBOR string and send it to frontend. And I think One thing I forgot, I just want to add this as well. Like, you want to create, if you guys remember, we have some option to decide about the TTL. So this is actually the TTL of transaction. And by TTL, if you send a love letter to someone, you see that your transaction can live up to 4 hours into mempool. And mempool is like a limbo state. It is not on blockchain. It is kind of, you see it in your wallet, so it is not approved. It is like in this space, in this phase or stage. So you can decide on that, like how long it should be. Maybe 3 minutes, 2 minutes would be very short, but maybe it is critical for your application to be fast as much as possible. So you cannot say, hey, stay in that for hours. I don't care. But if you want to decide on that on Apollo, and it is important, you can add this like set TTL, you see here. But here we need to provide a slot, not the time. In Lucid, we have to provide the Unix time. But in Apollo, no, we need to provide a slot. So how do we get the slot? And I'm going to show. But by the way, if you just remove this, that transaction can live inside that mempool forever. Basically, that means. So like whenever that gets submitted by someone, it is fine. So let's get for the epoch. We have I think BFC provide that. I think last slot it should be BFC dot. Yeah, last slot. No, was it this way? Let me just. I'm getting error. Epoch last block, I think a slot. Yeah, this is the way. So it will get the last block a slot. And if you guys remember, I have a lecture regards to the module 302 regards how time works. Basically, this is the block we need. I think this is the time we need. So under the hood, this Unix, all these things will end up in a slot. So it is not like, well, there is difference. But as actually Chris shed some light into this time subject, we don't have that much consistency with time in Cardano for some reason. So you have to be careful, to be honest, about this thing. But anyway, so let's pass this slot here and see that it needs int. So I think should it will return int 64. Int it will return, so int 64, and then we pass it here because int and int64 are two different types. And we will add to that a slot number. If you guys remember, a slot means seconds. So we say like how many is 3 minutes, seconds, 180. So we are just saying 180 seconds. So the transaction have 3 minutes live, or the time to live, which basically the time to live TTL. So yeah, let's convert this to the CBOR. So CBOR string, and we have a util package. But let me find it here. Let me go back to my. I don't want to spend that much time so finding it, but there are different. Yeah, I think utils is the guy. So utils, yep. Dot, and it is to CBOR. And by the way, I should say, if I just add these, I should show you at top. Just get all these stuff. Yeah. Oh, we see that here. This is wrong. We should remove that because I was working with Sunday. So Sunday Swap also forked this library and they're working in their side, very strangely from them, of course. But I was using there, so now I just got mixed with there. So yeah, we see that when I was util address, all these automatically will add to my imports. If you don't have that, if you get errors of and those extension we talk about, and you have to add these manually. And if you get an error, like, hey, I don't know this because I've used this before, I don't get error. You can just there copy this guy, going back to your terminal, and say, go get this part. Like simple as that. Then it will add it to your stuff. And oh, I think I've just updated this Apollo again. Sorry. So let's go back for. I mean, it's fine with a transaction, but anyway. So let's pass this Apollo, but we want the TX out of it because it is not that much a TX right now. So there is a function called get TX. And then we can just print this out, FMT, print and seaboard. That's it. Okay, so what is this? Why I'm getting this value? Okay, so I just need this guy to be at top as well. Kind of related to this. So I think we are good to go. Let's compile our Golang, and then I mean, you know what? Let me add this a little bit more because it will take time to. No, never mind. I just wanted to add a little bit more time. So because we want to go back to Lucid and we have to write kind of some functions in order to get this seaboard, deserialize it to a Lucid TX object, and then moving forward with signing and all these things. So yeah, but let's just go build, which build the whole things and provide a nice binary code here. But if you don't want to do that, you can go with go run and then call in this main.go. But we want to use, we don't want to pollute that much. So go build, and you see we got this Apollo server. And Apollo, if we call the Apollo server, I mean, or run the Apollo server, execute the Apollo server, we should get a seaboard. No, we don't. Not enough funds. So let's see that why we don't have enough funds. First of all, let me, like how many these 2,000? So 2,000. Let's go with how much do we have in our wallet? And I'm trying to give. But I have 9,000 here. I have 200,000 here. But so what's the problem? Standard. Not enough funds. Let's go with this new version. The first thing my mind's going maybe, but maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't. We don't get UTXO. Let's print this guy and see, do we get UTXO out of this guy or no? I think the problem is actually this guy, backend. But anyway, let's try it out. No, it doesn't. You see that this list of UTXO is empty. So you know what? Let me just do this. Give this PFC here. Let's see that Does this change anything or not? Still.
Mix, maybe you're on the wrong network.
Oh, let's see. Are we on wrong network? Well, in 0 API think I think it's right. This is right. Well, these wallets are in pre-prod. So we are in pre-prod and we have the fund on pre-prod. And in 0 is again pre-prod. This link is pre-prod and this is pre-prod as well. Why it doesn't get that? What's the problem? Maybe it's. Let me just check this guy here in block frost. Maybe right now block frost is down for some reason. Okay, no, it is. No, it works. So you see, so this means it works because if I just go with this guy, it will bring it. So yeah, block frost, no problem. So what's the problem? That we don't. Maybe I used wrong function. Shouldn't be UTXOs. Let me check my notes. Maybe I should have used different function to get the UTXOs.
It looks more like you need the way you're referencing a variable in the actual Go code. Is that all okay? Like you've got the ampersand. Is there a miss?
Ampersand.
That error doesn't look like an on-chain problem.
No, it is not. The error is, I mean,
Yeah.
this is not a good error handling, to be honest. Like if you face error, everything just fall apart. But
All right.
oh,
I see.
we just say that this returns empty. And once it is empty, this sender UTXO, this transaction building cannot happen. And we have several functions to check that for coin selection, picking up in all these UTXO. And we have that in the code, in this TX building code, that if you face some issues, just, panic. Like, I think add loaded UTXO, it is appending that UTXO to this. That doesn't do that much, but I think incomplete, there is this error of not found, which actually we can't just search it and find it, but the error is clear. Like I just printed out the result I want, and it shows empty. So
maybe you are using the wrong wallet.
ADR address. Maybe let's go back to the wallet and check out. So this is the Gamma Labs wallet, and I'm copying this, choosing everything and nothing here, copy pasting,
Oh, it's the same, I think.
go big, and get same, yeah. Probably we have some problem with these, but let me go back, maybe we have problem. It is pre-prod. Yeah, I mean, I have this in my code as well, but me again copying here. What? Okay, something happened. What's the problem? Oh, new block fraud chain context. What this guy is? New block fraud. Same thing. Need to think this way. Okay, we got it. For some reason, that endpoint wasn't working because something was off. Aha, I see. You see that V0 something we saw here? If you just let me Control Z. Yeah, this was the issue. We were just querying the wrong endpoint. Just copy it from here. So yeah, lesson learned. Do not add that in your code. With just API would be enough. So we see that now we got that UTXOs, and sure, we got the CBOR code. But before I'm going to use this CBOR code on the front end, let me just deserialize it for you guys to see what is this all about, what does it look like. So there is this tool called CBOR DI. I'm going to just search it. Yep. CBOR DI is a ROS tool. So you need to have cargo in your, this cargo is a ROS manageable, although you can write it with Golang. So this is the transaction. The whole transaction was CBOR deserialized into this. And this is the inputs. These are the outputs. Of course, there is another output, and this is the change. This is the change of this guy. This is the fee, and this, I think this is the time. This the time for that TTL, and these are the signing requirement which we just saw in our code. True. So we are saying that, hey, both payment part and the staking part must be signed. And it will increase the fee because, you know, we have something for just getting the fee as well. So let me print the fee as well here. So, okay, fee would be this again, Apollo get TX and then dots fee or transaction body. And yeah, transaction body dot fee. And then let's go print the fee here for ourselves as well. Let me just remove this guy because now we know that why we didn't get. And let's again go build and you get the fee. So this is the fee. So if I just remove that guy, that part, and say, okay, false. I don't know, payment part is fine for me. You see that the fee will decrease. How much? Well, let's see. It was 205,000. Now it's 195. So 10,000, almost 10,000 lovelies. Right now, it doesn't mean that much, but well, 10,000 lovelies. So yeah, adding this stuff to the CBOR code, actually determining the fee your user is going to pay. And actually, I can, if you just simply, we don't need, because we are adding this UTXO. And if we want to pay by this, if we want to spend this UTXO, paying by this UTXO, well, we have to sign it. Otherwise, the transaction will not get submitted. Although the signing phase will be passed. Well, but if you want to go into more stuff here, you can. And see now the fee again 10,000 smaller. So adding these guys just increase 10,000 lovelies to your transaction. So now we have the Seaborg code. Let's go back to our code in Lucid and just, just kind of comment all these guys, except yeah, I think that's fine because we don't need that. It's commenting. And then let's go and add our const Apollo the const Apollo low Seaborg and or Apollo's Seaborg anyway, and then just add this guy here. Just copying the whole thing. Sorry. And then we need to deserialize it and convert this Seaborg into Lucid object. And I bet same logic would be similar with Typhon, Mesh, whatever.
Yeah.
And it would be, I think the function would be, let me remember. Okay, so it would be const serialize Seaborg, like Seaborg. And then it would be, let's go with await stuff. Then it should be Lucid. I mean, Lucid with a small and dot from TX. Serialized should be fixed, serialized. And we pass this guy here. You see, I got all this amazing stuff with my extension in Golang, but for some reason with JavaScript nothing works. So yeah, kind of. So by this function, we just convert this guy actually to this guy, and then giving all its necessary part to the different function into Lucid functionality, and then we are ready to just sign the transaction and using and continuing with whatever we were doing here. As you see, okay, so to TX to a string actually will kind of signed, we convert the TX part to the Seaborg, but the from TX will convert the Seaborg into the TX object. So, like I think, but if you do you have any question in regards to this? Maybe this is very crucial part. I don't know, but anyway, let me go to the chat. Okay.
Have you tried it with Mesh? Because I tried it and I haven't achieved it.
I'm going to try it with you actually. James mentioned that you have some amazing news from Atlas. So I think we are going. I hope we can do it with the old mesh, but probably we are good to go with new mesh. But let's try it together, no problem. So just let's again call that normal sign function like const what to call like a signed tx and await, and it should be the serialized Seaborg dot. Sorry.
And hey, this is incredible progress, and I hate to bring the bad news, but we do have a hard stop in 1 minute. But this is incredible. What progress. And thank you for the basic example. There's a question that Jonah has in the chat about maybe adding like an access token to a transaction.
Sure, we can.
So between that and app wallets, I think we have some very exciting places to go next.
So what should we do? Should we continue it tomorrow or no? Should we kind of or can I continue and then I will join you guys, or no? What do you think?
Yeah, let's keep this going. I can't make it tomorrow. But if anybody wants to get together, of course you should. And this is a very good theme. These kind of back-end helper functions is uncharted territory for Plutus PBL. And I think it's really good that we're starting to pay attention to it.
Indeed. Well, I'm just quickly trying to run this. So like we are, I think, we are past us 30 minutes. So
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Never enough time, but thanks for getting us this far, Mix. This is very, very cool.
So
thanks, Mix.
So I'm sorry. I hope tomorrow, I don't know what would be happening, but if you just run these, basically it would submit the transaction. So you just try it out. But tomorrow, if it is possible to see, we will start from here. Don't worry. But thank you, and I'm sorry. We just we wanted to cover a lot, but we couldn't. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, thank you for your time, guys, and I hope to see you. I will see you guys tomorrow as well.
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
everybody.